I'm feeling really embarrassed. I had a Discord call last night with a friend. This friend is a newer connection, so there's still a lot of anxiety around me, fearing that I'm going to be perceived as weird or too much, or that my difficulties with social skills and like social cues are going to blow things up, and then maybe I won't have this friend anymore. I worry a lot because, like, whenever she's available to talk, it's typically pretty late. And I notice that, like, my ability to mask really goes down over the course of the day. And that kind of scares me because although I really want to find people who will like me even if I am unmasked, I'm scared that they won't like me, which is why I mask to begin with. And obviously, I can't like keep it up forever. The people who end up being close to me long term are going to see my autistic traits. But that scares me because I feel that to be autistic is to be abandoned. And it's just that I've had those experiences time and time again. And I mean, I've always been autistic, but I was like diagnosed when I was 6 years old. And I guess that's really rare for girls to be diagnosed that young, but I was. Unfortunately, it still didn't help. Like, yeah, the school knew, my parents knew, the doctor that diagnosed me knew, but it didn't mean that I got more grace. It didn't mean that people understood. In fact, sometimes I think it made things worse because people didn't understand, and they'd think that I was just using that as an excuse to be like rude or dramatic or lazy. And those were the things that I got called growing up. I was weird, I was dramatic, I was lazy, I didn't try hard enough, I was a monster, I was a vampire. Like, especially my mom would call me a vampire. And that hurt so badly to hear as like a little kid. Like, I remember it as early back as 5 years old. My mom, when she would be tired and out of patience with me, she would tell me that I was a vampire, and I just sucked the life out of her. And it's not great to feel like you've drained your mother dry of love and nurturance when you're only 5 years old. And especially, like, one of the things that was the most traumatizing for me about being autistic and growing up is that there was absolutely no grace for my meltdowns. I was not even educated like on what was happening to me, so to me the meltdowns I experienced were inherently traumatic. I had this total loss of control of my body. I would injure myself and I wouldn't know how to stop it. And like when it would happen, my biggest worry would be, what if this happens again? I don't want to keep hurting myself. I'm scared that I could get a concussion. I'm scared. And like I would tell my parents this and they would just scream at me and tell me that, well, you have to try harder, stop being so lazy. Why can't you just listen? Why do you always have to fight? And like I wasn't even fighting, I just was so overwhelmed. And even as like a little child who had trouble communicating, I tried so hard to communicate with my parents. I tried so hard to tell them that it felt involuntary, that it was out of my control, that I was scared I was gonna get injured. That like although I was doing it, that it didn't feel like I was. And I was so scared. And they still had no solutions for me. They just told me, well, if you keep being like this, someone's gonna call the police and we're gonna get in trouble or you're gonna get kicked out of school. And in school, the number one word that I was always called was disruptive. But did anyone ever try to figure out why I was disruptive or have grace for why I was disruptive so I could stop being disruptive? Absolutely not. And like, I'm just on the call like with my friend, like the thing is like I can tell when I miss social cues. I just still don't know how to meet them. Like I can vaguely tell when when I've responded to something someone says and it's not exactly related or what they're looking for. I can tell when I do that. I just don't know how to do it correctly. And it gives me such horrible social anxiety. Because, like, I know I get perceived as random, and I don't want to be perceived that way because it triggers me. I would try so hard to fit in and to, like, talk to other kids at school. And I wanted them to like me. But I never knew what to say so that they could. And they call me random, and I'd think, I'm not trying to be random. I just want to talk to you. And like now, in retrospect, I understand that when they said random, they meant random in a bad way. But of course, they never specified how they meant it. And it's just really hard because I can't take this out of me. I can't change this part of me. And like I see so many videos of like late diagnosed autistic women like feeling that the diagnosis helps them have grace for themselves and like move on like from the trauma of like being autistic and just not being understood and being made to feel like there's something wrong with them. But I've had this diagnosis since I was 6 and it didn't do anything. In fact, it just made things worse because I went to autism schools. I went to social skills classes. And if I'm honest, the social skills classes in itself were kind of triggering and traumatizing for me. It felt like I was being told that I'm not good the way I am, that I'm not good enough, and it hurt my feelings, and I didn't realize why I was so opposed or upset. Like, to go to those classes when I was a child and an adolescent, it was because it felt like it was sending the message, what's wrong, there's something wrong with you. No one could love you as you are. And then I think there's something wrong with me for having feelings like that, because anytime I have them, people tell me they're the wrong ones to feel. I just really hope that my friend still likes me even though I miss so many cues and I can tell and I just don't know what they are because I like her and I don't want to stop talking to her, but I also don't want to be a bad friend. I don't want to be the sort of friend that makes people feel lonely even when I'm with them, and I'm scared that I am that type of friend, but I don't know what to do to change it because I miss stuff. I feel like I especially try to mask the part of me that just wants to share about what I'm interested in, because no one's ever really like cared about it. And like, if I'm honest, I was like so bullied and ostracized for my interests growing up. Like, when I was growing up, it was considered weird to like anime, and I was bullied for it. And it's hard because I love my interests. They make me feel safe because they're the only things that have never gone away. But I'm scared to share them with other people because I don't want to be rejected. I don't want them to think like, I think another part of like why I fear that is because I'm autistic. I really struggle to have interest in things that I don't care about. Like, I struggle with this horribly, and I'm aware that it's selfish and that it makes me a bad friend, but I don't know how to stop it. So, like, if I don't care about something and someone else shares something with me, I just think, like, wow, that's really boring. I don't know what to say to that. And then I know that's rude. I know that's socially unacceptable, and that's not conducive to forming a bond. But I feel that way, and I don't want to be a liar. And but like maybe that's why like I'm afraid that like if I share too much about myself, someone else is going to get bored, because if someone shares too much about like their favorite show and it's a show I don't know anything about or don't like, then I have nothing to say to that, and I just feel awkward. But like if it's something I know about, if it's something that I love, then I can talk about it. And I know that that's so one-sided, and I hate that about myself, and I wish that I could change it. And the thing is, like, across my life, I've created like this perfect like neurotypical person, and I used to like wear her like a costume all of the time, and it got so draining, and it felt like I didn't even really have friends. And it felt like I was acting all of the time, and I was so tired. And I felt like a liar. And like, I feel like an asshole. Well, I felt like an asshole then, but because I was lying. Now I just feel like an asshole because I'm autistic. Um, and fuck. Heck. Yeah. Sorry for whining about autism. It's just a lot. And like, I know that, like, you know, in life, sometimes people aren't going to get you. You're going to find people who have different beliefs and different values. There definitely are probably people who do think I'm an asshole, and I'm sure that I am an asshole to them according to their specific list of criteria of what constitutes an asshole. However, that's not the same for everyone. And I'm sure the list of criteria for me that constitutes what's a wonderful, delightful person could be a recipe for an asshole for someone. So, yeah. Those are my morning trauma thoughts on autism.